Older women are losing their minds because men don't want them anymore. We've got one for you here today from Men Only. Don't forget to subscribe on your way in, and let's get into it.
I swear that men don't actually want to be in a relationship with the really attractive girl. They just want to experience her, be in the presence of her, show her off as a trophy, but they never want to actually date that girl because they get too insecure. And I honestly just met this guy and he kind of told me the same thing. He told me he had dated one really tall girl in the past that was really pretty and he got too insecure, and she was a little bit taller than him. I was an inch shorter than him.
Women like this love to throw around the word insecure, but if you ask a woman like this to define the word insecure, she won't be able to do it. But that's mainly because she's too busy being insecure to take 3 seconds to actually look up the word and use it properly.
And he kept telling me things that I should have seen as a red flag, but I wasn't thinking about it. And now I'm currently getting ghosted, and I should have kind of seen that coming. So basically, he told me that he saw me at the gym 2 years ago and thought about me for 2 years because I was like his dream type. And then he saw me again because I don't go to this gym often. And he was like, I have to ask you out. And he didn't tell me that right off the bat. He told me once we were like a few dates in. But like,
He's obsessing over height as if men care about that kind of stuff. That dude clearly ghosted this woman because he realized that his gym crush was just one gigantic red flag. But this woman can't handle rejection, so it has to be his fault that she's this insufferable.
then he told me that like he genuinely just goes on dates with pretty girls just because he's in the presence of a pretty girl. Men really are just that simple. They want to be around us. They want to brag about us, use us as trophies, but they never really have any intention of locking the pretty girl down. And I feel like that proves my point because now he's ghosting me, but he's watching everything that I am doing. And I just think that most men can't handle the pretty girl. They can't. And it's just unfortunate because it's like, why did you have to pursue me then? Like, why?
What exactly was this woman expecting? She went out on a date with Chad, and he made it clear that he wasn't interested in anything outside of some bedroom fun with a woman that he found attractive. He saw her as a single-use only type of woman and treated her as such.
I believe men are supposed to chase a woman, date her, spoil her, respect and adore her, and love her more. Anything outside of that is just weird. And if you're watching this as a woman, disagreeing with it, thinking it's too much or you don't deserve this, you have been brainwashed and you do not know your own worth. And you may even have internalized misogyny, which you definitely need to work on and heal that shit.
This whole notion of men having to love women more than the women loving them makes no sense. Not only is it impossible to measure, it just wouldn't do any good even if you could measure it because the women will just move the goalpost anyway.
Dating apps when you're over 30 are just like a really sad place, and I don't understand why. Like, it really, every time I go on there, I feel like I lose hope. I look at the people that are liking my profile and I'm like, what? If this is what's out there, I'm doomed. That's not the right attitude to have. So we're getting out there. We're getting out there in the real world. All of my best relationships, I've met my partners like IRL. I think it's just a matter of getting out there, putting yourself in positions to meet quality people / meet men.
These women think that the idea of actually going outside to meet a man is the same thing as cavemen discovering fire for the first time. Nobody ever told them that people have been doing that for literally thousands of years.
And so I've made a little challenge for myself, and my girlfriend, Brittany, has agreed to join me on this journey. She's also single in her 30s. And we have a little standing lunch date with each other on Sundays, and we go to a sports bar where they have a good food menu, and we do our little weekly catch up together there, enjoy our lunch, and we are where a lot of men are. Of course, like, the goal is to be in a position to potentially meet someone, but we're not going there just to like be on the lookout for someone. We're there to have lunch, yap, watch the game, have a little Sunday drink.
She literally just said the reason why they do this is to meet men, and it's funny how these women don't even know the first thing about men.
I live in New York City. I'm out and about a lot in all sorts of different places, but I realize a lot of the places that I go are places where men usually are not. like my workout classes and stuff like that. And so this is just my way of putting myself out there, not going out searching for it, but just like putting myself in a better position. And it's actually worked because we did it once before and I met a really nice guy and I ended up going out on a date with him. I was in the zone, I was with my friends, watching the game, having fun, laughing, and he just kind of popped up out of nowhere.
She just proved why her plan is destined to fail. She met a dude at a bar and went out on one date with him. She's nowhere closer to meeting a guy for a relationship, but modern women think that scoring a single date with a guy is somehow a massive win for her. It's actually the opposite.
The key is to go with somebody that you actually want to have a good conversation with. Go where they serve lunch. So you're not just like there with your binoculars on looking out for your man. You're like enjoying a nice lunch, and just be in the environment, not out searching. You're just putting yourself in an environment where you could potentially meet somebody, but you're not there to go and meet somebody. Do you get what I mean? Anyway, I'll let you know how it goes.
She insists on going to bars to meet men. It's crystal clear that she did the exact same thing in her 20s and it got her nowhere. That's why she's still single in her 30s, but she insists on doing the same thing and she hopes that it will get a different result. In other words, she's insane.
This might be an unpopular opinion. It's probably why I'm single. I don't want to play the game. I don't want to learn Shira Seven's techniques about using a man for his money. I don't want to manipulate anybody. I don't want to wait 3 days to intrigue their interest. If I'm interested, I'm just going to tell you I'm interested. I'm 41 years old. Would you like to pursue a relationship? Okay, great. Do we have common values? I'm really not. I don't have a roster. I don't have DMs. I don't post pictures of myself in a bikini. I'm not interested in like just stray, you know what I mean? I'm looking for the right one. And I feel like that is it's an almost impossible thing to find in today's society.
It's not impossible to meet a guy out there. The problem is that she's 41 years old and looking for the perfect man. Nothing else will suffice for her, but what she doesn't realize is that the men available to her will never meet her standards, and that's her problem.
Hear me out. I don't want to date and be out of their league. I want them to be out of my league. You know what I mean? People say it to me or you, whoever, as like a compliment. I don't want to be out of your league. I want you to have washboard abs. And I want to be the one who's like, oh, he's out of my league. I'd love that.
What she doesn't understand is that nobody cares what she wants. She thinks that she's entitled to a man with washboard abs, but that doesn't mean a thing. Her personality and demanding attitude is what's going to keep her single and dreaming of a man that doesn't actually exist.
So my hot take is that it's actually women who ruined modern romance, not men. So I know some girls will disagree with me and say that I'm not being a girl's girl, but this is just my opinion based off of my observations. But I honestly feel like a lot of girls these days don't understand what it takes to be in a long-term and a meaningful and genuine relationship. And I think like this issue mainly came from social media, especially TikTok, because I see these type of girls on TikTok all the time, and it's always my friends who are addicted to social media who think this way. When they get asked like, oh, what do you bring to the table? They say, what do you mean what do I bring to the table? I'm just a girl.
Any woman who gets offended at the table question isn't actually looking for a relationship. She's looking for someone to host her parasitic tendencies. Let's be real.
And these girls would say, oh, I deserve all this princess treatment, da da da. Which, yes, you deserve princess treatment. But that doesn't mean you should not be doing anything for him. A princess has duties and responsibilities as well. And it just kind of annoys me when these girls would leave their man just because he got laid off, or get mad at him because he didn't get her like the designer purse that she wanted. Because I'm just like, you're setting such a bad example for other girls and other people, because not all girls are like that. Not all girls, take things for granted.
It's more than just taking things for granted. A lot of modern women expect the perfect life in exchange for absolutely nothing. They expect everyone to give and give just because she exists, but it never has worked that way. It's an incredibly toxic attitude that gets them nowhere in life.
And like, if their man does something for them, they just say, well, of course, this is the bare minimum. And I'm like, even if something is the bare minimum, you should still, say thank you. And it just like pisses me off when people think they're so entitled to everything that their man does for them. Like, the least you can do is be grateful and express that. You should probably do something in return. I'm not saying like treat it as like a transaction, but I'm saying like if he treats you well, you need to treat him well too.
The sad part is how modern women think that saying thank you to a guy is worth its weight in gold, and a man must go out of his way to earn that. Meanwhile, she deserves weekly flowers, expensive dinners, and endless compliments just because she's present in a room.
And I literally have friends who just call their man their wallet, and it just kind of, I don't know, it's just very dehumanizing. It's kind of made me really sad recently because My boyfriend is a athlete and he got hurt or he injured his foot, so he had surgery. And a few days after, he told me that he was actually really scared that I would leave him when he told me that he got injured. Because having an injury, means he can't play and it means like less money. So he's going to make less money than he did last year. And he just, was really scared that I was going to leave him when I found out.
He was scared because modern women set the standard that the second a man loses his earning potential, his value and worth as a man goes down the toilet, and the woman sees it as justifiable to up and leave him at his lowest. Nobody can blame him for feeling that way because it's true, let's be real.
And it's made me sad because my man shouldn't have to think like that. Like, he shouldn't have to think that I'm just going to leave him when things get rough. And I know it's not something that I did that made him think that. I just know it's because of, social media. And, yeah, that kind of hit a little bit too close to home. And it just, made me think back on all the times, where I've had these types of conversations with other girls. And I'm just like, girl, you're delusional. You sound like a child, literally. But, yeah, that's my hot take. Everyone treat their woman well, and happily ever after. Also, I got my nails done. I love it.
That's because modern women are nothing but overgrown children. The second they don't get what they want, they throw a temper tantrum and blame the entire planet instead of accepting that life will never actually be perfect.
I have a date tonight, so I thought we would have a little chit chat about the dating scene in Toronto while I get ready. I've honestly had a hard time dating in Toronto because a lot of the guys that are in their 30s or early 40s are still kind of in their Playboy era for some reason. It's like a lot of these men just really aren't looking to start a family or have a wife. And even if they want to date with intention, they don't really want to have the type of relationship that I'm looking for. I think along with not knowing what you want, a lot of these Toronto guys don't know how to date properly anymore.
It's funny how they always blame the city, even though she explained how men normally think. If a man builds himself up through his 20s and gets his ideal life in his 30s, if he wants to live the Playboy lifestyle, that's his business. She doesn't get a say in that. But anyway, guys, we're going to be leaving today's episode there. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new here. Drop a comment, and I will see you all in the next one. Make sure you take care of yourselves. Peace.